All right, so we're diving into the world of glass polishing today. We're going to be prepping for a glass polisher interview. And to help us, we have a stack of resources from RoleCatcher. They've got career guides, sample interview questions, even some insights into how AI is changing the game.
Yeah, it's really incredible how much information is out there, and just how much preparation can actually make a difference. Having a solid understanding of what interviewers are looking for and how to showcase your skills, it can really make or break an interview.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. So first things first, what does a glass polisher actually do? RoleCatcher's guide kind of paints this picture of someone who takes ordinary glass
Yeah.
and they transform it into all these different products. We're talking grinding edges, polishing surfaces, even using machines to create that like super smooth mirror-like finish.
Yeah, and it's really more than just making glass shiny, right? It's a blend of precision and technical skill, even a bit of artistry, I would say.
Well, for sure, for sure. Speaking of artistry,
Yeah.
RoleCatcher has this awesome section on interview questions. And the first one is, what inspired you to become a glass polisher?
Hmm.
Now, this seems pretty simple, right? But how do you actually make your answer memorable?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think this is your chance to really tell a story. Interviewers want to see your passion, what drives you. So instead of just saying, I like working with my hands or something like that, share an anecdote. Maybe you were mesmerized by a glass blowing demonstration as a kid. Or, you've always just loved building and creating things. Connect it to your journey and what excites you about this specific field.
I love that you tell the story.
Oh.
Okay, so let's say they ask, what's your experience with polishing different types of glass? How do you showcase your expertise here without just like listing things off?
Yeah. Yeah. So get specific. Instead of saying, I've worked with lots of types, mention the actual types of glass, the techniques that you use, even challenges that you've overcome. For example, you could say, I've polished everything from standard plate glass to delicate crystal using both hand tools and automated machinery. I've learned to adjust my approach based on the unique properties of each material.
Yeah, that shows that you really understand the nuances of the craft.
Yeah.
And it can even spark follow-up questions,
Yeah.
give you more chances to shine. Okay, this next one is all about attention to detail. How do you ensure you maintain a high standard of quality in your work?
This is where you really highlight your meticulous side. Emphasize your dedication to precision and accuracy. You could mention specific quality control procedures that you follow, tools that you use for measurement, even, personal techniques that you develop to achieve that flawless finish. You're not just polishing, you're perfecting.
Yeah, and interviewers love to hear that. They want to see that dedication.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one that seems to focus on safety. How do you handle difficult or delicate pieces of glass?
So safety is a huge aspect of this field, and your answer should definitely reflect that. Share your knowledge of proper handling techniques. Protective equipment risk assessment. For example, when handling delicate pieces, I always prioritize safety by wearing gloves and eye protection, securing the glass properly and working slowly and methodically to minimize the risk of breakage. And if you've had, any specific experiences handling tricky pieces, definitely share those.
Yeah, for sure. It shows that you're not just skilled, but you're also responsible and aware of those potential risks. All right, shifting gears a bit. How do you stay up to date with the latest glass polishing techniques and technologies?
Yeah, so with this question, you really want to show them that you're a lifelong learner. Mention, industry publications, that you read conferences or workshops you've attended, or even, online courses that you've taken. You might say something like, I regularly check out trade shows to see the latest equipment and techniques. I also subscribe to industry journals and participate in online forums to stay informed about advancements.
It's all about showing that you're invested in your craft and want to continuously grow. Now, here's one that focuses on the people side of things. How do you work with clients to understand their needs and expectations?
Yeah, so it's really all about communication and collaboration. Explain your process for actively listening, asking clarifying questions, and making sure you truly grasp their vision. You could say something like, I always start with a detailed consultation to discuss their project goals, preferences, and budget. I ask questions to clear up any confusion and present them with options to ensure we're on the same page.
Yeah, make sure everyone's on the same page for sure. Okay, speaking of teamwork, let's tackle time management. How do you manage your time and prioritize tasks when working on multiple projects?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Organization is key here. Share your strategies for planning your workday. Prioritizing based on deadlines and urgency, and just staying on top of things. You could say, I use a combination of to-do lists, project management software, and clear communication with my team to stay on track and hit deadlines. I always prioritize tasks based on their impact and urgency, ensuring that the most critical projects get my immediate attention.
I love that. Yeah, organization is key. Okay, so this next one might be a little trickier. How do you handle conflict or difficult situations with colleagues or clients?
So they're really looking for your conflict resolution skills here. Stay calm, professional, and share a specific example of a conflict that you successfully resolved. Highlight your approach to communication, empathy, and problem solving. You could say, I once had a disagreement with a colleague about the best approach to a project. We each listened to the other's perspective, I calmly explained mine, and together we brainstormed a solution that incorporated both of our ideas.
That shows that you can handle tough situations with grace. Okay, back to safety. How do you ensure you're working safely and healthily?
Right. So this one is all about your commitment to workplace safety and best practices. Mention specific protocols that you follow, like wearing PPE, maintaining a clean work area, adhering to all company guidelines. You might say, I'm always mindful of safety. I wear appropriate gear like gloves, safety glasses, and a respirator when needed. I also keep my work area clean and organized to minimize hazards. I'm always alert to potential risks and follow established procedures to ensure everyone's safety.
Safety first, always. All right, and finally, let's combine quality with budget considerations here. How do you ensure you're meeting customer expectations while staying within budget constraints?
So this one is about balancing quality efficiency and cost effectiveness. Share an example of how you successfully achieve this, highlighting your understanding of client needs, project scope, and budget limitations. You could say something like, I once worked on a project where the client had a really tight budget. I carefully reviewed their requirements and found ways to optimize the polishing process without sacrificing quality. I explored different materials and techniques and found a solution that met their needs while staying within budget.
I love that. Yeah, finding that balance. Okay, so we've covered a ton of questions here, from technical skills to communication and safety. What are your final thoughts on interview prep for glass polishers?
I think preparation is key. Thoroughly research the company, the job requirements, industry trends. Practice your answers and be prepared to share specific examples that highlight your skills and experience. And most importantly, be yourself. Let your passion shine and show them your enthusiasm for the craft.
Amazing advice. Now let's talk about how RoleCatcher's AI tools can actually help take things even further. Not only do they have these awesome sample questions, but they also offer personalized feedback and tailoring to specific job descriptions.
Oh, wow, that sounds incredibly helpful. How does that actually work?
So they have this AI-powered feature that analyzes your answers to practice questions, and it gives you suggestions on how to improve. It's like having a personal interview coach right there with you.
That's amazing. It really takes the guesswork out of practicing, which can be so valuable.
Right. And they have this other tool that helps tailor your answers to specific job descriptions. So let's say you're applying to a company that specializes in architectural glass. You can input that job description, and their AI will help you emphasize the skills and experiences that are most relevant to that specific role.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's all about making sure your answers are targeted and resonate with what the employer is looking for.
Exactly. And they even have this video practice feature where you can record yourself answering questions and get feedback on your body language, tone of voice, and overall presentation.
Wow, that's so smart. So much of communication is nonverbal, so being able to see yourself and get feedback on those aspects can make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's all about putting your best foot forward and making a killer first impression. RoleCatcher's AI tools can really help with that.
It sounds like RoleCatcher is a fantastic resource for anyone prepping for a glass polishing interview.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the work environment. What can you expect if you actually land this job?
Well, according to RoleCatcher's career guide, you'll likely be working in factories, workshops, or even construction sites. It's a hands-on job that requires you to be comfortable working with machinery and being on your feet for extended periods. And of course, safety is paramount.
Yeah, so it's not a desk job.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And those safety goggles are essential. Sharp glass and chemicals are no joke.
Exactly. The guide also emphasizes that the glass industry is constantly evolving, with new technologies and materials emerging all the time.
Oh, that's exciting. What does that mean for someone starting out in this field?
It means continuous learning is essential. To stay competitive, you need to be adaptable and willing to embrace new techniques and technologies.
So it's not just about mastering the traditional methods, it's also about staying ahead of the curve and expanding your skill set.
Precisely. In fact, the guide suggests joining professional organizations or associations related to glass manufacturing or polishing, just to stay updated on the latest developments in the field.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Networking and connecting with industry professionals can be so valuable. Now, before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, let's talk about the pros and cons of being a glass polisher. It's important to have a realistic picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. The guide highlights high attention to detail and job opportunities in various industries as definite pros. Plus, you get to work with your hands and see tangible results, which can be really rewarding.
That's awesome. But what about the not-so-glamorous aspects?
Well, the guide points out that the work can involve repetitive tasks and potential exposure to chemicals, which are definitely factors to consider.
Right, it's always good to weigh the pros and cons before making any decision. Okay, so let's move on to part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll explore more about career paths landing that first job, and even what the future holds for the glass polishing industry.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive on becoming a glass polisher. So you aced the interview prep, hopefully with a little help from RoleCatcher, and you're ready to really get your hands dirty. Well, metaphorically, of course, since we're still talking about prep.
Right.
But let's look at what you need to succeed, what skills you need, career paths you can explore, and how to land that first gig.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, RoleCatcher's guide really emphasizes a few key skills. First, that sharp eye for detail and commitment to precision we talked about. Glass polishing is all about achieving that flawless finish. So patience and meticulous approach are super important.
It sounds like this job is perfect for people who love getting things just right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll also need great hand-eye coordination and dexterity. You'll be handling tools, sometimes delicate pieces of glass. So steady hands and precise movements are crucial.
Those sound like skills that you can hone with practice, right?
Definitely. And speaking of practice, RoleCatcher's guide really stresses the importance of hands-on experience. Even internships or entry-level positions in related fields can make a huge difference.
So it's not just about knowing the theory, it's about actually getting your hands on the tools and materials.
Exactly. They even suggest seeking out internships in glass manufacturing facilities or related areas just to build those practical skills.
Okay, so you've got the skills. Now, what about career paths? Where can a glass polisher actually go in this field?
Oh, that's what's so exciting. There are so many options. You could specialize in a specific type of glass, like architectural glass, automotive glass, or even decorative glass.
So you could really become a niche expert.
Exactly. You could also focus on a particular technique like beveling, which creates angle edges, or etching, where you create designs by carving into the glass.
Wow, that sounds really cool, like adding an artistic layer to the technical skill.
Yeah, definitely. The guide also mentions possibilities like supervisory or management roles, where you lead teams and projects. Or if you're entrepreneurial, you could even start your own glass polishing business.
Wow, so much potential there. And for those who really love staying ahead of the curve, you could even specialize in emerging technologies like computer-aided design or advanced automation techniques.
It's true, the possibilities are really endless.
So let's talk about landing that first job. RoleCatcher's guide has some great advice for that as well, right?
Yeah, they do. They emphasize showcasing your skills, even creating a portfolio of your work. Highlight your best projects and show off those techniques you've mastered.
Yeah, I love that a visual representation can really make an impact.
Definitely. They also suggest networking, attending trade shows, joining online forums, connecting with experienced glass polishers. You'd be surprised how much you can learn and the opportunities that can come from those connections.
That's great advice. And of course, there's RoleCatcher itself. Their platform is full of resources, job postings, career guides, and even those AI tools we talked about that can help you tailor your resume and cover letter.
It's like having a personal career assistant in your pocket.
Okay, so we talked about common interview questions earlier. Any other extra tips for really making a killer impression in that interview?
Yeah, I would say research the company beforehand. Understand their products, their target market, their company culture. It shows you're genuinely interested and you've done your homework.
Preparation is key.
Absolutely. And don't forget the basics. Dress professionally, be on time, be positive and confident. A firm handshake and a genuine smile can go a long way.
Yeah, you don't want to underestimate the power of first impressions.
For sure. The guide also mentions asking thoughtful questions at the end of the interview. This is your chance to learn more about the company and the role, and to show them that you're engaged.
Yeah, the two-way street. You're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's talk about money. What can a glass polisher expect to earn?
Oh yeah, the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
Well, it can vary based on experience, location, and the specific industry. But overall, based on industry data, you can expect a competitive wage with potential for growth as you gain experience and specialize.
So both financial stability and opportunities to move up the ladder.
Exactly. And let's not forget the non-monetary rewards. There's a real sense of satisfaction that comes from working with your hands, seeing those raw materials transformed into beautiful, functional products.
Yeah, that's something you can be proud of for sure.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up this part, I want to reemphasize safety.
Yeah, we touched on it earlier, but it's so important.
Right, working with glass can be hazardous, so always prioritizing safety is non-negotiable. RoleCatcher's guide really stresses using proper protective equipment, safety glasses, gloves, respirators when needed.
Yeah, and being aware of your surroundings,
Mhm.
keeping your workspace organized, following all the safety protocols, those are crucial too.
Definitely. And if you're ever unsure about anything, don't hesitate to ask for guidance. Safety is everyone's responsibility.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this part, skills, career paths, landing that first job, and that crucial reminder about safety.
We have, in part three, we'll put on our futurist hats and explore the trends shaping the glass polishing industry. Think automation sustainability and the evolving skills that will be in demand.
Ooh, sounds fascinating. Let's dive into the future of glass polishing.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so we've explored what it takes to actually be a glass polisher, the skills, the career paths, even how to ace that interview, hopefully with some help from RoleCatcher's AI. Now let's put on our futuristic goggles and see what's on the horizon for this industry.
Ooh, I love this part. So RoleCatcher's guide hints at some pretty exciting developments. One of the biggest ones is automation. Robotic systems are kind of stepping in to handle some of those more repetitive tasks. But don't worry, this doesn't mean human skill is becoming obsolete or anything. It just means that glass polishers are kind of evolving into these more specialized roles.
Oh, okay, so instead of manual labor,
Yeah.
the focus might shift to programming, operating, and maintaining these high-tech systems.
Exactly. And there's also a growing need for expertise in computer-aided design or CAD. As architects and designers are dreaming up these increasingly complex and creative uses for glass, glass polishers who can understand and execute those intricate designs are going to be in super high demand.
Wow, it's like glass polishing is becoming a fusion of art and technology. What other trends are shaping the industry?
Well, sustainability is a huge one. There's a big push towards eco-friendly materials and processes. Glass itself is recyclable, and manufacturers are finding ways to minimize waste and reduce their environmental impact.
So for someone entering this field, having knowledge of sustainable practices would be a big plus.
Absolutely. It shows that you're forward-thinking and understand the importance of responsible manufacturing.
Okay, so the guide also mentioned that the construction industry is a major driver of demand for glass products. What does that mean for job opportunities?
Well, it's great news. As construction booms, especially with this focus on energy-efficient buildings that use a lot of glass, the need for skilled glass polishers is just going to keep growing.
So we're talking job security, the potential to specialize, and even a chance to be part of a more sustainable future. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners who are now feeling inspired to polish their way into this career?
I would say embrace that blend of artistry and technology that we talked about. This is a field where precision really meets creativity. Hone your skills, stay curious, never stop learning, and you'll be well positioned for success in this evolving world of glass polishing.
I love that. And remember, RoleCatcher is there every step of the way, from exploring career paths to practicing for those interviews with their AI-powered tools.
It's true.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the nitty-gritty of the job to the exciting possibilities that lie ahead. So to our listeners, go out there, put that polish on your skills and your confidence, and shine bright in your glass polishing journey. Thanks for joining us, and go